Motion in your step.
Motivation in your heart.
Hello, and welcome to today's Motion and Motivation podcast.
We've put together a study guide for everyone. If you need it, you can grab it from the video description. Today, we're going back in time, way back to ancient Babylon.
A city that just shimmers with images of extravagant wealth, doesn't it?
It really does. And our guidebook for this journey, well, it's got to be The Richest Man in Babylon, right?
Oh, absolutely. Georgia's Classon's classic. It's praised for a reason, That timeless advice on building wealth, it just hits different.
It really does. But we're going deeper than just skimming the surface.
We're going deep, deep, deep.
Unearthing those hidden stories.
The practical wisdom tucked away in those ancient tales.
And figuring out how it all applies to you today.
Right here, right now.
Exactly. So let's talk about Babylon, because this was a city that, well, it wasn't exactly built on a gold mine.
No, not at all. What's fascinating about Babylon is that this incredible prosperity, this wealth, it sprung up in a place with surprisingly little natural wealth.
So if they weren't blessed with a wealth of resources, how did they become, well, Babylon?
That's the thing. Their success, it all stemmed from human ingenuity.
It's like instead of stumbling on a gold mine, they engineered their own prosperity.
Exactly. And that concept of building wealth, rather than just finding it, that plays out so beautifully in the story of Archad,
The richest man in Babylon.
The one and only. Archad's journey is like the ultimate example of transforming your ambition into reality.
He started as a humble scribe, right? Yearning for wealth.
Yearning, absolutely, but totally clueless about how to actually get it.
And then he has this fateful meeting with Gilgamesh,
A wealthy moneylender, and a shrewd one at that.
who offers him, well, a deal that's too good to be true,
The secret to wealth.
in exchange for just one night of Archad's labor.
Talk about a bargain, right? Makes you wonder, what was this life-changing secret?
Oh, what was it?
It's actually simpler than you might think. Gilgamesh's advice, it was this: a part of all I earn is mine to keep.
Sounds straightforward.
Deceptively so, right?
It seems obvious now, but back then that must have been revolutionary.
Oh, absolutely. This idea that you should pay yourself first.
It's brilliant.
Instead of waiting for wealth to just magically appear, Archad, he took control, building his fortune through saving and smart investing.
Which brings us to Nomus here.
Archad's son, the heir to a fortune.
He inherited his dad's wealth.
But, well, he might have inherited a bit of a tendency to, shall we say, make some financial blunders.
Oh,
Yet
that's
Nomus
tough.
here's tale. It's a good reminder for all of us, about those pitfalls, those tempting shortcuts to wealth.
Like winning the lottery or inheriting a fortune from a long-lost relative.
Exactly. Imagine being handed, actually handed, a bag of gold and a clay tablet, the 5 laws of gold etched right on it.
A recipe for financial success.
Handed to him. Yet, even with all that, Nomus here, he still manages to squander it all.
Falling for those get-rich-quick schemes.
Every time.
It's reassuring in a way to know that people have struggled with these same temptations for centuries.
Oh, absolutely. We're all human.
Right.
But you mentioned those 5 laws, and those are crucial.
They really do sound crucial.
They are, trust me. They're like the foundational pillars of Babylonian wealth building.
What kinds of things do they cover?
Oh, they've got it all. Principles like, you guessed it, paying yourself first, but also seeking wise counsel. And then there's the whole bit about making your gold multiply.
Okay, now you're just teasing me. We have to delve into each law.
Oh, we will. Just know that they highlight, that Babylonian approach to wealth building. A perfect blend of common sense, a good dose of discipline, and smart decision-making.
It's like their ancient version of a financial planner in your back pocket.
Exactly. And speaking of practical advice, we've got to talk about the 7 cures for a lean purse.
Which, let's be real, feel incredibly relevant even today.
Oh, absolutely. These cures, they're like those actionable steps, the things you can actually do, to achieve real financial stability.
What kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, one that really resonates today is controlled eye expenditures.
IPCA budgeting.
Exactly. But the principle, it's the same. Track your spending, be conscious, make choices about where your hard-earned money goes.
So we've got paying ourselves first, we've got seeking wise counsel, and we've got budgeting. But what about luck?
Oh, luck. Did the Babylonians believe in it?
It feels like everyone believes in luck to some degree.
They did, but not in the way you might think. It was more nuanced,
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
There's this great story about a weaver, just a regular guy, And he stumbles upon, you guessed it, a purse of gold.
Of course he does.
Right. And it sparks this whole debate. Was it pure chance, a gift from the gods, or something else entirely?
Did they ever figure out the source of this lucky break?
Well, the story, it explores this idea that, yeah, luck might play a role, but opportunity often comes from action.
You're saying instead of waiting for a financial miracle to happen to us,
Right, like winning the lottery.
we need to be actively creating those opportunities for wealth to, well, to find us.
Being prepared.
Open to possibility.
Precisely. And that brings us to Melathon,
Marathon, okay.
the gold lender. This guy, he perfectly embodies that whole idea of cautious optimism in financial matters.
He sounds like someone I'd want on my side for sure, especially when it comes to, navigating those tricky financial waters.
Oh, absolutely. Melathon knew his stuff. He truly believed that lending, it was more than just a transaction. It was a powerful tool, something that could help others grow their wealth.
Okay, I like that.
But, and this is a big, but he always emphasized caution. I mean, he really stressed the importance of security,
Making sure you're not taking on more than you can handle.
Exactly. And carefully evaluating, like really scrutinizing, a borrower's plan.
So no handing over bags of gold without a solid plan.
Not a chance. Not worthy a thought. He had this motto, better a little caution than a great regret.
Words to live by, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And it applies to so much, not just lending, but investing too. Speaking of which, we've talked a lot about those financial strategies, the nuts and bolts of how the Babylonians handled their money. But I'm curious, what about their work ethic? How did they view, the actual act of work?
Was it just about, just a means to an end, or was there something more to it for them?
Well, let's talk about Sharonada. He's a former slave who, through hard work and determination, becomes this respected merchant.
Wow, that's quite the journey.
It is, and it contrasts sharply with the story of Hadan Gula, who, get this, is the grandson of Sharonada's former business partner.
Okay, now that's interesting. So we have these two individuals coming from completely different backgrounds,
Worlds apart.
each with their own, their own unique perspective on what work really means.
Precisely.
Mm.
Sharonada, having experienced the hardship of slavery firsthand, he deeply, and I mean deeply, understood the value of hard work.
It wasn't just about, punching a clock. It was about
Uh,
something bigger.
Exactly. It was a path to freedom, a way to create opportunities for yourself, a chance for self-determination.
It sounds like there's a powerful lesson here about gratitude and perspective.
Oh, there definitely is. I mean, Hadan Gula, he'd never known true hardship.
Hmm.
He took his privileged position for granted, saw work as something beneath him, a task fit only for slaves.
Did he eventually, did he come around to seeing the value in hard work?
He did, thankfully. It took some time. But through Sharonada's guidance, his example, Hadan Gula had this transformative realization.
What was it? What changed for him?
He finally understood that work, it wasn't just about, earning money. It was about building character. It was about developing valuable skills. It was about creating a legacy.
It's about finding that pride and fulfillment in whatever you do, no matter what your profession is.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Now, we can't forget about those 5 laws of gold we touched on earlier.
Right. Those are important.
They're essential.
They're like the cheat codes to financial success, except they're not cheats at all, are they?
Nope, they're the real deal. Remember Nomasir, the guy who, despite having every advantage, managed to squander his father's fortune.
Hard to forget.
He learned the hard way that neglecting these laws, it's a recipe for, well, for financial ruin.
Let's make sure we learn from his mistakes.
Agreed. So let's break them down, shall we? These 5 laws, what are they, and how can we actually apply them to our lives today?
Give it to me straight.
All right, law number 1, the one we've mentioned a few times already, but it's worth repeating.
Drum roll, please.
Pay yourself first. And I don't mean treat yourself to a shopping spree.
Right, because that comes later, after you've paid yourself, right?
Exactly. This means consistently, and I mean consistently, setting aside a portion of your income before you even think about spending on anything else.
How much are we talking here?
Ideally, at least 10%. It's about prioritizing your future self. Imagine this. Your paycheck hits your account. Before the bills, before the groceries, before that triple shot latte, you take 10% and you put it aside.
It's not about being stingy.
Not at all. It's about building that solid financial foundation, brick by metaphorical brick.
Okay, I'm sold. What's next?
Law number 2, we're talking about seeking wise counsel. This resonated with Arkad, big time, when he sought out Algamish's advice.
Because he knew he didn't have all the answers.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging that you don't have to navigate this whole personal finance maze alone.
There's no shame in asking for help.
None whatsoever. There are experts out there, people who can provide invaluable guidance.
So find your alchemist.
Exactly. Whether it's a financial advisor, a trusted mentor, or even that friend who seems to have their finances totally dialed in.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
Never. Asking for advice, it can save you from those costly mistakes. Now, ready for law number 3?
Hit me.
This one's all about making your gold multiply. It's about taking those savings, the ones you're diligently setting aside, and putting them to work for you.
Making my money work harder than me. I like the sound of that.
Right. This is about wise investments, those opportunities for your wealth to actually generate more wealth.
It's the classic, make your money work for you, not the other way around.
Music to my ears. But I know what you're thinking. The world of investing, it can feel intimidating, even overwhelming.
Okay, so what did the Babylonians, who clearly knew a thing or two about building wealth, what did they do? How did they choose their investments?
Well, they didn't have stock markets or index funds back then. But they understood the power of putting their gold to work. They invested in businesses, in real estate, in ventures that had the potential to generate income.
So the key takeaway here is,
Be proactive, my friend. Make those informed decisions about where your savings are going. Don't let them just sit there gathering dust.
all right, on to law number 4. What have we got?
This one's all about protection, about guarding your treasures from loss.
Because it's not enough to just earn it and save it, you've got to protect it too.
Exactly. This law, it reminds us to protect those hard-earned savings from those risky investments, those scams that are always lurking around the corner.
Think of Mathon, our cautious gold lender.
Exactly. He knew that every investment, it comes with some level of risk, and he stressed the need for security, for a well-thought-out plan.
So do your due diligence.
Yes, research carefully. Don't let greed cloud your judgment. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
All right, last but not least, bring on law number 5.
This one's all about the future, about ensuring a future income.
Retirement planning, the Babylonian way.
Exactly. It's about thinking ahead, creating that stream of income that continues to flow even when you're no longer working.
So whether it's through investments, owning property, or other means of generating that passive income.
You've got it. And here's the amazing part. Even back then, they had this concept similar to what we know today as life insurance.
No way, really?
Oh yeah, Arcad, he actually talked about this whole system of making small, regular payments as a way to ensure financial security for your loved ones in case of death.
That's incredible. And honestly, pretty forward thinking for, thousands of years ago.
Right. It shows a remarkable level of foresight and planning. So to recap, those 5 laws of gold, they're all about paying yourself first, seeking wise counsel, making your gold multiply, guarding it from loss, and ensuring a future income.
It's like a holistic approach to building wealth, to securing your financial future.
Exactly. And these laws, they weren't meant to be followed in isolation. They work together as a system, much like gears in a well-oiled machine.
Each one playing a crucial role in achieving lasting financial prosperity. It's a good reminder that building wealth, it's not about stumbling upon some secret formula.
It's a journey, not a destination.
It's about adopting those sound principles, those Babylonian principles we've been talking about, and making those consistent, smart choices over time.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to gloss over that story of the farmer who could understand animals. It's such a charming tale.
Oh, it's delightful.
But there's got to be a deeper message there, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about so much more than just talking animals.
Lay it on me.
So it centers on this farmer, just an ordinary guy, who discovers he can understand what his animals are saying to each other.
I mean, who hasn't wished they could do that at some point?
Right. So one day, he overhears his ox complaining to the donkey.
About what?
Well, the ox is complaining about his heavy workload, how exhausted he is, the whole bit.
The donkey being... Well, the donkey probably had some thoughts on this.
Oh, the donkey, always eager to please. He comes up with this plan, suggests that the ox should pretend to be sick, to get a day off.
Oh, no, this isn't going to end well for the donkey, is it?
Probably not. Of course, the ox, thinking he's found the loophole of the century, he takes the donkey's advice.
And enjoys a day of rest and relaxation while the poor donkey...
Ends up pulling that plow all day long, poor guy.
It's a classic case of good intentions gone wrong, isn't it?
It really is. And, the farmer, he's listening to all this, and he actually learns a valuable lesson, too.
Which is.
It highlights that importance of being discerning, especially when it comes to financial matters.
So don't just blindly follow advice.
No way.
And don't just jump into an investment because everyone else is doing it.
Never a good idea.
Really, it's about taking the time to evaluate the situation, considering those risks.
Right, thinking it through.
And then making those informed decisions that actually align with your own financial goals.
It all ties back to those strong financial walls, doesn't it?
Just as the walls of Babylon protected the city.
Exactly.
Building our own metaphorical walls through, savings, investments, wise choices.
All of the above.
Those are the things that shield us from financial hardship.
It's like those incredible clay tablets we talked about earlier, the ones that give us this amazing glimpse into the financial life of, a real Babylonian.
We're talking about Dabasir, right?
One and only. Dabasir.
I mean, it's just mind-blowing to think we have access to a 5,000-year-old record of someone's personal finances.
It's like finding a 5,000-year-old budget spreadsheet, isn't it?
Pretty much. So what can we learn from Dabasir's meticulous record-keeping?
Well, for one, it emphasizes the importance of having a plan and then actually tracking your progress, staying disciplined.
He was determined to pay off his debts and build wealth?
Both. And he followed a clear strategy to get there.
It's actually really encouraging, I think, to know that even thousands of years ago, people were facing these financial struggles, ones that feel so familiar today.
We're not alone in this.
Exactly, and they found ways to overcome them.
Dabasir, he's like the OG of personal finance.
He really is.
No way.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the wisdom of Babylon, what's the biggest takeaway? What should we all remember?
I think it's that financial freedom. It's attainable.
It's not just for the lucky few, right?
Exactly. The Babylonians, they show us that through, ingenuity, discipline, those timeless principles, they built this city of immense wealth.
And they left behind this incredible legacy of financial wisdom.
Wisdom that we can still learn from even today.
It's incredible.
They remind us that real wealth, it's not about luck. It's about making those smart choices. Taking control of your financial future.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
I love that.
And we're taking these ancient principles and applying them to our modern lives. Well, we can all build our own paths to financial well-being.
That's it for our deep dive this week, everyone.
Until next time, may your purses be full.
And your heart's even fuller.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep building those walls.
See you next time.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of our updates. Also, if you think this video could help others, please share it with them. Thanks for watching and for your support.